So we are here for some practice. So we are here in my living room and you are in your space, wherever that might be. And we're here to do a little bit of yoga. So it's an hour and 15-minute practice. You see, I have a block and a towel over there. I also have a blanket. If you don't have a blanket nearby, maybe grab a pillow. I'm going to have us play with some foot things where we put our heels up on it and do a little bit of work with our feet, also known as our proprioceptors. So we will do a little balance. Today we're going to do the eagle pose. So having a wall or maybe a chair nearby if you need to steady yourself. Otherwise, practicing your balance is a good thing. And the block might be helpful. So when you cross your foot over, maybe tapping your toe instead of on the floor on a block, if you can't quite wrap it behind your ankle. So we'll just see how we are today. Anyway, that's the plan, Stan. And so we'll come to Samastiti. I'm going to go over and sit on my blanket. So you can sit any way that you wish. Let me scoot it out a little bit. You can sit on your bum with your ankles crossed. I'm sitting on my knees because that's just how I want to sit. You could sit on a block. Just go ahead and bring yourself to whatever position feels suitable for you. And if there's like knee issues, you can extend your leg. You can even sit in a chair for this first centering part of our practice. So address your Mula Bandha, pelvic floor energy. Lower belly scoots in. Heart lifts up. Eyes lower or close. Hands can be palms down to be grounded or palms up in a mudra gesture for that element. And turn your attention to your breath. And so the breath rising and falling, expanding and contracting. Feeling the abdominal wall help to release the air from the body so that then you can renew yourself with new air. It's a wonderful system this body has. So as you're sitting quiet for a few moments, pushing away those distractions around you, recognize things in your body that might need a little extra care or tenderness so that you're not adding, what they say, insult to injury. That you're really honoring yourself, doing what you can, maybe challenging yourself a bit, but also honoring where you need to. That's your third eye chakra, your knower. See if you can deepen that breath a few more times. And as we flutter our eyes open, let's begin our practice with the arms stretching to the sides of your body, out towards your space. Be aware if the shoulders are starting to hike up, and if you find they are, push them down and send that energy out your arms. And then lean a little to one side and lean a little to the other. It doesn't matter how you're sitting, even if you're in a chair, you can still do just a little lean, a little tip. Presence of breath and bandhas. And now lean onto your left arm, and that could be the floor, the edge of the chair, and then reach above. So traditionally, we always look to the high hand, but if that doesn't feel appropriate, you could look forward or even down. So see how your neck feels. Use the floor or the object that your left hand is on to bring yourself back center. Tip over a little, support that back, raise the arm, open your chest. You should feel your ribs on the left side of you lifting off of the hips. And with your breath, return back center. This time, wrap the arms around you. Feel that you're holding the bones on your shoulders, pain-free, and kind of drawing those shoulders inward. Breathe in and open your arms. Let's cross the other arm on top. It's a little different sensation. Again, try and find your shoulder blades. Pull them inward as you bow downward. Open up the arms. Bring the hands behind you. So again, you're sitting, and if you need to rearrange your seated position, do so. Grab the hands or lace the fingers. Stretch the arms out behind you just a little bit. Artificially moving our shoulders behind where they normally should be, but maybe are not. And then take a forward rounded position. So if you're sitting with your ankles crossed, you'll just let your head drop down. If you're seated, you let yourself go down. I'm kneeling, I will let myself go down. Rising up and transitioning onto hands and knees. Those of you with knee sensitivity who are not on carpet like I am might want to double up the mat, or this is a bit high, maybe just put your blanket or towel out under your knees, and then palms or knuckles, as you wish, or forearms, if that's okay. I'm going to move my blanket off. I'll be using it in a moment. Come to all fours. Knees under the pelvis, hands under the shoulders. Shift your weight around. Go a little bit back and a little bit forward and a little bit side to side. And then settle on equal distribution of 4 limbs. Press away from the mat. Oh, Uddiyana action. How about that? Pull it up. Look out toward the front edge of the mat. Now I'm going to turn my toes under to work on my bendy toes. Back the hips up a little bit. Nothing should hurt. And then draw the heart forward and back and forth. So I'm going to change my palms just for demonstration purposes to show you that you could be here with my thumbs forward on my knuckles, or I could be on my forearms. So each one will feel a little different. Now back yourself up towards your heels. We're working on the bendy toes, so this may be good enough. You may be able to come here. You may be able to sit on your heels. Not everyone can or should. Some of you may want to put your hands back here. So again, not everyone can or should, so just working on the bendy toes. And then we're going to come and stand up. So if you have any object that was under your knees, you're going to move it off your mat. Try not to use your hands as you come and stand up. And then we'll face each other regardless of your orientation to your mat. So you might be at the end, I'm on the long end. Go ahead, put your hands on your side, bend this breath, and a wider stance. And we'll just shift the weights from leg to leg, pushing a little bit into the hips. Ascertain the sensation of the pelvis. Sometimes everything's fine, sometimes it's a little cranky, so we're just figuring it out. Hold center, bend the knees a little bit, and now drop the tailbone, curl the belly button in, and stick the pelvis back out. So front and back, upper body is quiet. Have you heard the saying that you're only as young as your back is flexible? So we're working to somewhat isolate body parts. What happens over time is if we don't do this, everything seems to just move as a block. So this may be a little challenging, and then here's our hula. You know we love the hula. And then go the other way. So I believe that your body needs a little lubrication and warm up before you start jumping into some of the poses. That said, still you should honor yourself. Okay, let's soften the knees and stretch the arms up to the side. You good with your space? Now imagine I am holding your hips so that your hips cannot move, and I want you to think of reaching toward one side of your space and then the other side of your space. So now we've asked our lower body to be stabilizers so that we can move the upper part of our body. And probably the side to side is somewhat available to you. Make sure the whole body isn't leaning. That would be represented by your knee bending so they stay still. Breathe. Now here's the challenging one, and I'll turn sideways. Bring your hands up around the ribs, and then with your thumbs push the chest forward and then pull the chest in. This one's a little tricky in that your glutes are going to want to jump in and play, so you want to hold this still, and it's just chest and back, and chest and back. It might be a little tricky, but again, learning to not use one set of muscles that might normally just follow. Oh, can we do a circle? I don't know. Side ribs, back ribs, side ribs, forward. This requires strength from your core. Keep your knees a little bent. Be playful. It may not come easy, or you may be able to do it easy peasy. Go ahead and go the other way. Ribs back, ribs over. I have my hands on my hips to remind me they are not moving. And pause. So sliding the hands down my thighs above the knees. Now there's a tendency when people go forward for their hips to go back. I get that. But for us, when we slide forward, I want you to lean out like you're going to fall on your face. And so you only come into what we would call our bookshelf pose. Lean into the toes, spread the sit bones, say good morning to your hamstrings. Support your back with your hands on your thighs. Then I'm going to bend the knees and turn my heels in a little bit. Keep the knees bent as I right my torso so my spine is up and my arms are in front. So then I will kind of pump things up a little bit, as we used to say. As I straighten the legs, I'm going to lift the arms upward. Now I can lift the chest, just be careful you don't thrust the pelvis forward. So that will be up, and then this will be down. So I will be going up and down. Now if you're feeling a little pressure on your knees, make sure your knees are moving in the direction of your toes, and maybe a little more weight in your heels can help. If you're not feeling pressure in the knees, go a little more deeply. Yes, these are pliés, lifting and lowering. Did you figure out the breath? Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Go at your own pace. Now this time, turn your toes forward, circle your arms around, rebind them behind you, grab or lace, pull the arms off your back, and now go out in that bookshelf pose. Lean into your toes, and now go ahead, let your head drop down. So we know we're going to affect our blood pressure a little bit here. Release your hands onto your thighs. Bend the knees, turn your heels in, modified squat. My knees are pushing out, my hips are dropping down. So you may be the person that can go fully into a squat. I find this being harder for me to do than it used to be. Bodies change. So the heels are supposed to be down. So maybe stop before they start popping up. As you brace and support yourself, let's roll up slowly, give the blood pressure a chance to catch up. Rolling up, Uddiyana action, Mula Bandha, straightening the spine, separating the vertebra from the disc. Arms continue to go all the way up. When you finish your breath, the palms will touch. And as you exhale, the hands come into the heart, holding that attitude of gratitude. So let's bring the blanket, the pillow, whatever you might be able to put your heels up on, onto your mat. So what am I going to do with this? I don't know, I got a couple inches there. So I'm going to stand with my heels up on the blanket, towel, pillow, whatever you have. So now notice by elevating the heels, what might have happened. For some people, the hips feel like they're being pushed forward. So activate Uddiyana action and keep lifting up nice and tall. Tadasana. So it might feel a little different rather than when you're down here, which we will do a little bit later. Now you can leave your arms down, out to the side or in front, wherever you think they're going to help you. But I'm just going to lift my heels and balance on the balls of my feet. So I have a little help, don't I? My heels have come off my blanket and I'm up on the balls of my feet. So then I'll lower back down and rise back up. And lower back down and rise back up. Try and keep your gaze outward, otherwise when you drop the head, it's added weight that will tip you forward. And pause with your heels on that blanket or whatever. Bring the arms in front of your chest, and now let's find the chair pose. So as my hips go back, a little easier to stay upright. I don't feel the need to tip forward. Now, you only make the chair as deep as you want. Some of you might be able to go a little deeper with those heels lifted, but if that doesn't feel appropriate, don't. And then let's see how the shoulders and back are working this morning. So breath in, the arms will rise, putting pull and pressure into my core and releasing back down. Do you have the breath? Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Nice strong arms. Nice solid base. Now as I stand up, squeeze your legs straight. Let the arms carefully, watch your space, circle around behind you. Now I'm going to step over what I have, so hopefully you're not taking up a whole lot of space. Stand on your left foot and move your right foot back. You can put your arms out for balance. On the ball of the foot, we're going into the crescent pose. So you see I'm wiggling it or sliding it back. My heel is up, my front knee is bent. As I lift up my chest, squeeze my back leg. Just to bring a little opening into the front of the thigh. Bring the arms forward, bring the body forward. And what you should notice is no pressure on the knees, but the quads and especially the glutes. A little bit of core with the weight of your arms in front of you. Mindfully step that back foot up and become a chair. So the arms can be here or the arms can be here. This time we'll do a body weave. So the arms drop, the hips go forward, the arms come from behind all the way up, palms together, hands at heart, stretch them to the side, both knees bend. Now stand on your right foot as the left foot steps back and then wiggles or slides. You're going back until that front knee feels that it's above the ankle. Your heel is still elevated. The back leg squeezes straight and you lift up. So you feel that nice opening at the front of the left side of your body, yes? Bringing those arms forward, leaning forward, so feel the dynamics change to the support of the quads and through the glutes and the core. Mindfully step your back foot up. Find your chair pose. Arms can be up. Draw all the way up, and this time put your hands on your side. Look down at your feet. So I'm going to turn and face you, and you won't be able to see my toes all that well, but I'm telling you I'm just lifting the big toes, and all my other toes are down. Then I'll put my big toes down and try and lift all of my other toes. Then I will switch between big toes up and all the other toes up. It's weird, isn't it? And breathe. Okay, now that you've had that experience with your heels elevated, step off of what you were on, and we can go ahead and clear the mat. And let's do that same thing. Oh, do you feel a little shorter? It's a weird sensation. Look down at your toes. Big toes lift, the other toes stay down. You can do it. Then the big toe goes down, and then all the other toes lift. And then between the two, big toe up, big toe down. All the other toes down, all the other toes up. Something to have fun with, yes? Okay, hold the toes down, come back to your breath, roll to the outer edges of the feet and to the inner edges of the feet. Pronation, supination. Now, some of us are just built to walk certain ways. And you can look at the bottom of your shoes to figure out what that is, whether you're a person who rolls on the outer edge or if you tend to roll inward where your knees come in too far. So we try and be in the middle. So Tadasana, come to the end of your mat if you're not there already. Toes, heels, outer, inner edges, all balanced. Bandhas, breath, fingers. Lift the arms up, and as you exhale, bend the knees and bring the hands down to the mat. Shake your head a big yes. Move your head a big no. Then drop the hips a little more. That should help you lift the chest. Let's do the right foot back first. Now we go to the low lunge. This is where some people like blocks under their hands or hands on their thigh. So you wiggle the foot back so that the front knee is over the ankle. Some of you may want to soften the knee. It might not be for you, but if you wanted to put the knee down, try and keep your chest up, and you breathe. Lifting your hips, you're going to turn toward the long end of the mat, so you're going to be turning your body until your hands are on the floor and your feet are apart, and you're just going to keep going. Perhaps you won't even see me, but you can hear me as I turn to face the other short end of my mat, the back heel coming up, the front knee bending, and if you were using blocks, you brought them around with you. Once you're at the other side doing your low lunge, you might consider dropping the knee or not. Lifting your hips up and walking your hands back from the way that you came, back to the front. Now place the palms or your knuckles down so you can lift the hips and move your front leg to the back. And now we come to our plank. Plank can be on hands and toes. Plank can be on hands and knees. Press away from the mat rather than sinking. Let's separate the legs and put the knees down. So my knees are a little wider, my feet a little more narrow, and we move into that first child's pose. And this is where I remind you, anytime during our practice, if you just want to come here, you could come here. Sometimes that is what needs to happen. I'm going to come back into my plank position, so place your palms or knuckles. Place your toes, just for the moment. Drop down your left knee, and then drop your right heel. So my right hip is opened up. It's beginning my lean. So my left hand is down, palm or knuckle. Shift your weight into the left hand. So you're on the left hand, the left knee, and the right leg is like a little anchor. Slowly watch the right hand as it reaches out in front of your chest and up a wall and up toward the sky. And the bottom shoulder goes forward as the top shoulder comes back. And you can leave that foot behind you, your right leg down, or you might consider lifting it for a little more challenge. I don't know. It doesn't need to be that high. And you breathe. Again, focus can be up, out, or if it feels better for your neck, look down. If you did lift the leg, go ahead, bring it down. As you bring the high hand down, pivot on the ball of the back foot and come back to your plank. So we'll do the same thing. You don't have to move. We do the same thing other side. Drop your right knee down. Drop your left heel. Shift your weight into your right hand, shoulder, wrist relationship. Abundance breath as you reach the arm outward from the chest, upward. And then that bottom shoulder will help you open by moving forward as the top shoulder goes back. So if you don't do that bottom shoulder, it's going to be this. So involve the bottom shoulder, open up. And again, the option to raise the leg for those who wish. Take your focus. If your leg is up, you'll set it down, bringing mindfully the high hand down, pivoting on the ball of the foot, returning into your plank. Chin up, elbows in from knees or toes. Come on down. Relax the feet. We all know the baby cobra, so not pushing, just lifting your heart for breath in and relax breath out. Cobra, go through baby and then apply a little pressure with hands. The elbows do not straighten and relax down. And if you know up dog, I'll leave it to you to do up dog. So one more, just go up where you feel that's appropriate and come down. Turn the toes under. Let's all leave the knees down just for the moment and lift up your hips a little. Could slide your hand under your hip bones, elbows in, shoulders down. Do the best you can to then press up the chest into your plank. Lift up your hips, look to your feet and take 2 small steps forward. Our first down dog. Perhaps we would like the knees bent. Bringing aid and comfort into our low back. Maybe we can do this with our legs straight. Shall we walk the dog? Not forcing, just allowing. One heel to sink and the hips participate. So let your hips swing. Let both of your heels come way up high, bend the knees, sit back, look forward. And as you wish, you walk your feet, you step your feet, you jump your feet up to where your hands are. Laying your body on your thigh, bend the knees and hold together. Move the hands on the calves or around the calves. Lowering your head, lifting your hips, keeping connected. Try and straighten the legs. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. Lean into your toes. Bend the knees, release the arms, be aware of your blood pressure as we stand up. Joining the palms overhead and bringing the hands into our heart. So we feel all those fluids moving around in our head, yes? So I'm going to do a little bit for hips before we move into eagle pose. As you're facing me, feet not together but slide apart with hands at heart. Tap the right toe to the side. Now I'm not saying you're doing this, but it's very common to sink into that hip. I'm going to encourage a pulling up out of the hip. Standing on your left leg, open your left arm, release your right arm. Now the toe is going to be on the floor for the first few, but you do have the option to float it. So this will be breath in. And on the breath out, you're going to cross the right leg over, the leg is straight, drop down your left arm, lift up your right arm. So you're keeping that nice diagonal. And you're squeezing tightly in between the legs. So breath in, I'm touching the floor, and breath out. This will play with your balance. If you really want to play with your balance, lift the leg as you breathe in, cross the leg and float it. It's not touching the floor below when you breathe out. We'll do one more where we open, so let's catch up with each other there. Inhale here, Tadasana, exhale. So in these transitions, always notice how your body is responding. It's like we're efforting, working in our yard, doing something, and then we take a break. So the body is like coming back, re-nourishing itself. Take that calm to the other side as now you tap your left leg, pulling up on the right, raising right arm, lowering left arm. Bandhas. So inhale, cross the leg over, squeeze the legs. Now sometimes the hip turns. Try not to let it happen, just let your legs squeeze, but you keep facing forward with your hips and chest. So inhale, you can touch the mat each and every time. Or you can float the leg, that's more fun, yeah? And squeeze across, floating. Pulling up and crossing over. Elements of balance that you may have introduced. It's not uncommon to find that one leg is a little more responsive or available, because it just is what it is. If you ever need the floor, you know where it is. So one more, open up, take a breath in, breathe, breathe, breathe. Exhale to Tadasana. Now, as you take stock, you may notice that you're feeling a little bit around the core, particularly your back. So let's give it a little stretch. I call it the impatient mother, but that isn't the real name. Just fold the arms, bend your knees. You're going to use the weight of the folded arms to just hang and stretch your spine forward. My knees are bent, my head is dropped, and you may feel like you'd like to sway or not. As I release the arms, I'm going to be smart when I roll up. I'm going to imagine I have a pillow between my legs. Squeeze the pillow. Let the weight of the arms stretch your spine. Bandhas, bandhas. Head will be the last thing that you put on top. Wow, that was sweet. And then you're back to your Tadasana. Okay. So we're going to do a little slow flow. That will be standing at the end of the mat, lifting up, coming into a lunge. Coming into a warrior, into an exalted warrior, back down, doing that little chaturanga thing, which you can forego and do a child's pose. Hey, no judgment for me. Then we'll go to down dog, step forward, do the same on the other side. Just get a little bit of slow flow going. So step on up to the front of the mat. So good intentions with us. We do what we can. maybe more, maybe less. The arms will lift as you breathe in and fold as we breathe out. Lift your chest when you breathe in. Right leg goes back to your low lunge when you breathe out, and drop that right heel. Keep the front knee bent. Feel free to use that front thigh as you stand up. Hips, chest, shoulders forward. Press that knee out. Roll into pinky toe, back foot. A little different opening into the groin. Right arm lifts over, turns the body, reaches back behind you, and then stretch your left arm out over your left thigh into Virabhadrasana 2. The difference between the two is where your torso is facing without letting the knee come along for the ride. Turn the front palm up. Lift the arm mindfully, and it could be a little, or a little more, or a little more. Stay committed to your lunge. Again, tradition says look up, but you can look wherever you'd like, and check your breath. Return to Warrior 2. Windmill the arms, raise the back heel, go to your low lunge, into your plank. From knees or toes, chin up, elbows in, go down. Relax the toes, baby cobra, cobra, up dog, breathe in. Exhale, come down. Toes under, hips up. Push up into your downward facing dog, and we do adjust those feet. Still the body, still the mind. Knees can be bent, knees can be straight. Raise the heels when you breathe in, bend the knees, sit back, look forward. You walk, you step to the front of the mat, drop the hips, lift the chest, bind behind your calves, bow over and smoosh together. Bend the knees, release the arms, come all the way up, 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 stay where you are. Exhale, bend the knees, touch the earth in front of you. Inhale, lift your chest. Now your left foot steps back, go long into the lunge, drop down your left heel. Commit to that lunge and feel free to use the front leg as you steady yourself to rise. Align your hips and chest forward. Roll into your pinky toe, floating the arms. Virabhadrasana 1. What does it offer you? Lifting your left arm up and turning your body to the long side of your mat, reach back with the left arm. Look forward to the right arm as you deepen, tracking that front knee, relaxing your shoulders. Turning the right palm up, travel the arm up, backhand lightly touches, and you go where you go. You go where you go. Stay committed to your lunge. Find your breath moving back to Virabhadrasana 2. We windmill the arms, flip up the back heel, go to your low lunge, and then to your plank. Remember, you have the option for child's pose. Down we go, up we go, down we go, up we go to down dog. Try and take those hips with you and adjust the feet. Still the mind, still the body. Raising both your heels, bending your knees, looking forward. You walk, you step, or sometimes you jump to the front of your mat. Drop the hips, bind behind your calves, and then bow over and push together. Release the arms and rise all the way up. And with palms together, we float the hands to the heart. Yummy. So I'm going to grab my block over here as we're coming up to the eagle pose. So eagle pose, a balanced pose for hips. Yes. So I'm going to do just the leg part and show you why I have this block here. And it may not be anything that you need, but for those who do, this is a little bit easier on the tall side. You could put it low, you could put it lowest. So there's 3 positions. I'll just put it down there. So I'm going to stand on what would be your right leg. If you want to watch a second, you're going to see that I pick up my left leg, my standing knee bends. I'm crossing high in the inner thigh, and I can move this block where I need it. So I got my foot on that. Then I'm going to sit down, and my chest is up. So with the left leg across, I'll open the arms and cross the right arm over, either bend at the elbows or at the wrist, and bring the hands up. So with the wrist, you'll look more like this. With the elbows, you'll look like this. Some people move the hands around and touch the palms. Then when I stand up, I'll unfold the arms, lift up my leg. Hey, we did this one before, right? And then close the posture. Now you may not need the block, or you might need it higher. What I'm trying to do is keep it from hanging. I do see this a lot. I'm not judging it, but I do see where people are just kind of hanging their foot out there. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I think this gives you a little more sense of grounding, because eventually what you hope to do is to bring that leg behind your standing leg. And you know, some people are just built to do that. So you know, ladies sit sometimes with their legs crossed, and sometimes they put their foot around their calf. Just always been that way. So that may be how you roll or not. So let's do the standing on the right leg, doing the eagle pose with the left leg. Yeah, so it will challenge your balance. You do not have to use this. I'm not going to use it this time. I'll use it on the other side. Tadasana. As you inhale, lift the arms halfway to the side. The thumb is down, the pinky finger up. It's my eagle wings. Exhale, bend both knees and raise your left heel. Exhale, cross your left leg up and over or behind as you cross the right arm over the left arm and bind. As you slightly tip forward, look through your hands and breathe. When I fly the eagle, I stand up, ta-da! And then I close the posture. Remember that yummy stuff that's there. So if you're using a block or something else that you may have that you can rest your foot on, let's move it to the other side. We'll do it 2 times on this side as well. So now standing on your left leg. Inhale, bend the knees, thumbs down, pinky finger up. Ground on that left leg as you raise up the right leg. Cross high in your inner thigh. Find where that block is. Come over here. Sit back with right knee over. Cross your left arm over. And then hands up. Or here. Shoulders down. And lean forward. Then you stand up and fly the eagle. That was our practice. And close the posture. So we'll do it again. I'm not going to use my block this time, but you can, of course. Inhale, both knees bend, thumb down, pinky finger up, raise the right heel. Get grounded on that left leg as you cross high in your inner thigh. Sit, 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 and work to wrap it. Left arm over right arm. Lean slightly forward, look through your hands. Breathing in, we release and fly the eagle. And close the posture. So that was a little for our hips. So why don't we just do a little around here and see how things are feeling? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna come down onto the mat. I'm gonna move my stuff off. This is where I have a towel. And you could sit on a blanket, pillow. You don't have to. Just might be helpful. Did you use your hands? Try not to use your hands. So this is just a tea towel, hand towel. It's just that size. Basically for us, it's an arm extender. I've taken to using the towel over the strap because it's just safer. A strap may hit you, so you gotta be a little careful. So I'm sitting just ankles crossed. You don't have to sit like that. You can sit on your knees, you can sit with your legs in front, you can go back to the chair. So this we're gonna do a little bit to open the shoulders. Now before we begin, you should know we have dominant sides of our body. So this is my right hand, if you're right hand dominant, it's likely the right shoulder will be tighter. It's not always the case, but it seems to be. And so you're just going to be having that awareness as you come in modified Gomukhasana. That sounds like a good pose. So just sit yourself comfortably and find your towel, or if you're using a strap, hold the buckle. Let's put the towel into your left hand and see how that right shoulder is. And then toss it over your back. Now position the elbow forward rather than out to the side, and assist it by moving it up and keeping it close to your face. So I have this little trailing towel or strap behind me, and I'm sitting very tall. Release out your right hand, the thumb is down. As I bend the elbow, do you see the hole under my arm? So I want you to fill that hole and move your elbow in so there's no space. And then you're gonna feel the towel or the strap somewhere behind you. I'll just turn around real quickly and show you this is what I did. And there's my towel. And then you're gonna work the hands toward one another. And they may come together or they may not. If they come together and you don't need the towel anymore, then you don't need the towel anymore. So I don't need my towel today. So generally you're breathing into the anterior of the low arm. Slowly release. You're going to let the right arm or the low arm come out first, and then slowly release the other arm. You see, I let go of my towel. I'll probably have to use it on the other side. If you're sitting with your legs crossed, I'd suggest switching that every now and then so we don't just do those patterns. All right, let's see how the other side goes. Hold your buckle if you're using a strap. Toss the strap or towel over your back, and now position your arm. So tricep. And some arms only go here, so you got to work with what you got, depending on your shoulders. And if you can, the further up here, the easier that it's going back that way. Just that's the other side. All right, left arm, palm down, thumb down. Bend the elbow. There's the space under your arm. Slide the hand in until you find that towel or that strap, and then work your hands toward one another. Maybe they get there and maybe they don't. Then just take a few breaths. Slowly release the hand that was down below. Slowly release the other arm. And if you have the towel or strap, you can let it go. So this helps us to open the anterior of our shoulder. Why would that be important? Because everything we do is here. We push, we pull, we do all this stuff here, and rarely do we strengthen the back. That's how life is. So we want to work on opening here, and we want to work on strengthening back there. So, you know, things like we do this, where we draw the elbows back, are very useful. All right, so keeping your towel or your strap, and you can stay on your blanket towel or sit on your mat. I'm going to turn sideways. I think I'll turn and face out. So this morning it was raining and the sun was out, and I knew there was somewhere there was a rainbow, but I couldn't see it. Isn't that when it happens? The sun and the rain creates a rainbow. All right, so here's my towel or strap, and I am sitting up on my blanket because I just will, but you can sit on the floor. So I'm going to put it under one leg, under one foot. There we go. It's under my foot. So I'll leave the other knee bent, so both knees are bent. And here I am rounded, but I want to lift and come to a neutral spine. So I'm not overarched, but I'm not rounded. I'm in neutral spine. So gazing outward, see if I can straighten the leg. And then if this is easy, consider bending the elbows to pull the leg up higher. Now if you said, I don't need a towel, I don't need a strap, I can grab the bottom of my foot, Karen, and I go, okay, well, you be you. We'll all just be who we are. So the arm extender is a useful thing. Retract the shoulder blades. Now check in with your bandha. And the other foot's just gonna hover. You don't have to lift it high, just off the floor. And look to the foot that's being lifted. Now you have one of two ways to come out. You can keep the strap or towel under your foot, or you can slowly let it go and bring both feet down. That's going to put a little more demand on your core, so be a little careful. Other side. Under the other foot. Both knees are bent. Straighten up. Lean back a little as you extend the leg. Other foot's on the floor presently. Maybe you do a little more by pulling. I don't know. Engage through your core. Now you'll have to engage through the core to lift the other foot, right? Yeah, a little balance up here. And you're breathing. And again, you can let go and lower both legs or not. You can just put your leg down. So I'm going to do it without the blanket just to show that you can. This time we're going to do two legs. What? Two legs. Now make sure the space behind you is clear, because it could be you roll back. I don't know. I'm not saying you would, but it could. Okay. So strap on the balls of my feet. Now I'm going to put my legs together because I know when they're together it lends support from my back. Here's me rounded. Here's me neutral, here's me beyond neutral. So I just want to be neutral. Find my breath, pick up my feet, find my balance. It's wobbly up here, don't you think? It's our version of supported Navrasana, the boat pose. Check your shoulders are not scrunched. Lift up the chest, bandhas and breath. Again, you can use the strap to lower down, or you can let go. Should we do it again? Did you roll back? I wish I was there to see it. One more time. Bind, engage, when ready, extend. Now, if you want a little more challenge, you can lighten the grip on your strap or your towel. And notice where the work then has to come from. It comes from your core. And then release down. Over onto your side. So face me, either side, won't matter. You may need the towel for this. I don't know your range of motion. It would be the top leg that you would put the towel or the strap around. As you come down, your knees are forward to the front edge of the mat. And then you bring that leg back, bringing your heel towards your bum and bringing your body forward. If you don't need the strap, I don't need the strap or the towel, you would do the same thing. You would put your hand at your ankle, lower your leg, bring the heel back, Lean the body forward. Should feel good. The weight of my leg is being held by my hand or by the towel or strap. As I come up, my front knee is bent. I'm either going to put my foot in front of that knee or over the knee, depending on you. But I want to be sitting on both my bums. So when you sit on both bums, this foot comes up, it might be better to just move it in front of your leg. Sitting on a blanket or a towel could be helpful, so whatever you need to do. If you find the bottom knee doesn't like this, it's not stuck there. You can move that bottom leg out. We just don't often do this one. So the leg that's on top, it looks like the right for you. Hold it with your left hand, and rather than letting it fall out, you hold it up. The right hand will help your posture by supporting the spine. Oh look, I grew like 4 inches. Use the right shoulder to draw back. Look off to the side of your space, getting tall, keeping space in your vertebra. And then some of you might want to turn a little further. Some might want to change the hand to the elbow to the upper arm. So wherever that feels appropriate, a little more stretching for the hips. And return center. So we're going to lay on the other side, so just adjust accordingly. These stargazer lilies smell so good. My whole house reeks of them. I did not grow them. Bring the knees forward. Okay, either strap or towel around your ankle. As the leg goes back, pulling your heel towards your bum and leaning forward. I'm just going to hold my foot because I can, so I will. So I feel my thighs, my hip flexor, and I lean forward. They were at the grocery store, they were in the discount bin, so they were like $3. I thought, such a deal, I'll bring them home with me. And I have enjoyed them every day since. As I slowly come up, that top leg will move in front. I'll get off my elbow. And again, the option is to have the foot here. I want to be sitting on both sides of my pelvis, or if it works out, across, but not pitched up. And you can be on a blanket or a towel, so wherever you do. Now, that top leg, now it's your left leg, right? So right arm, hold the knee up, let your left hand improve your posture. And now lead with the left shoulder as it goes back. And you turn and you observe, how does it feel on this side? Maybe you change the hand to an elbow, to an upper arm. Just kind of see how it goes. Nice deep breaths. And slowly release down in front. So get on the long end of the mat. You're going to lay down on the mat, so put your feet at the short end. If you're on a blanket or towel pillow, move it off to the side. We're going to be rolling down and rolling back up. Not appropriate for everyone, so you can do it, but you don't have to go all the way down. What I can say is if you have a towel, you can stick it between your legs because that squeezing of the legs is helpful to the back. If you want to put a block between there, you could put a block between there. So what will happen if you don't have anything, just squeeze your legs together. I'm going to articulate or roll my spine down. That's why it may not be great for some of us. Make sure there's space behind. So maybe I just go a little bit curling in, Woody on action. Maybe I just go to here and then I stay rounded until I reach upright spine. So it's a little bit of rolling down and a little bit of rolling up. And if ever you need your legs, you can use your legs. If you feel you can go further, I say go ahead and do that. It's not the going down that's going to be the challenge. It's going to be the coming up. So you just work within the parameters available to you today. Try not to let momentum take over. I know if you get down and you get up here and you go up, and so you kind of jerk it up, try and make it flow, only go as far as you can properly come back up. A couple more times. Bandhas, bandhas, bandhas. Next time we're going to go all the way down. So if you've not been going all the way down this time, do. And if you need something under your head, have it nearby. So as you go down, articulating your spine, you can give yourself that pillow for those of you who need it. If you don't need it, nod the chin, look forward. Oh, my little scrunchie is like a pillow. Perfect. I'm going to back up my feet until I feel them with my fingertips so that I know my feet are parallel. Pause here for a moment, ascertain where your body is on the mat. So yeah, your head's touching, but not the back of your neck. Your shoulder's touching, but hopefully not your low back. I don't want it to feel like it's pressed down. That will change things. But you can tighten the belly. Back of the legs not touching, but your hips are. Feet are. So without rolling, we're now just going to press into our feet till we bridge, not really high, just wherever that natural bridge is up, and then slowly lower down. I am not rolling through my spine. I am moving my torso as a unit. So pressing up, engaging your glutes, and lowering down. Now the hands by your side can be helpful if this is an issue for you in any way. For your back, you can put a little pressure into your hands to give support to that back. But for those who don't want to rely on the hands at all, you can put your hands behind. That's kind of where I go. It's just where I go, but you don't have to do this. So it's hips up and hips down. Now I'm going slowly, mindfully. Do you notice anything when you're moving up and down? Is there a little bit of side to side at all? Look for it. So let's see if we could do this with one leg. So I'm just going to park my other leg on the ankle. I'm going to drive down into my foot and elevate my hips just like I've been doing, but just on one leg. Now, if this doesn't feel so great, I can always put my second leg back down. And again, notice, are you just going up and down, or is there a little bit of side-to-side motion? Let's go one more time. Keep your breath involved. Go ahead and switch to the other leg, which may or may not work for you, but at least give it a try. Again, knowing we have dominant sides. Stay invested in the sensations and the awareness of you. You could feel that this is an easy thing to do or a challenging thing to do. We don't have to ascribe whether we're good at it or not, just our effort to try. Maybe one more. And as you come down, let's bring both knees into the chest, holding them together and drawing some circles. Oh. Each way is good. Now I invite you to a couple options. The bottom of the feet together, recline Bandha Konasana. The hands go through the legs, grab toward the ankles, and then use your elbows to press the knees open so you get those inner thighs stretching. Some of you might want to, by keeping that low back neutral, open the legs to the side, and you may hold at the inner thigh, out at your calves, or you could be that person that does a 2-finger lock in the big toes. But don't sacrifice by lifting up your tailbone. If I were next to you, I could slide my hand a little bit under your low back. So it doesn't matter, your hands could be at the toe with the legs straight, at your calf, your ankles, or even at your inner thigh. So do what you can do, and make the legs straight. I'm a fan of stretching the adductors. They are limiting to the hips. Now, if you wanted to play a little teeter-totter, you could. I can't. I have the fireplace in my way. Gently bring the knees in, and then just hug them in. And then as I place the feet down, my arms are going to go overhead. I'm going to hold one hand on the wrist and cross one leg over the ankle of the other leg. It doesn't matter which one. And then I'm just going to squirm or wiggle from side to side. My ankles are crossed and one hand holding the other wrist. Switch your legs, switch your arms. Keep squirming. Keep the arms overhead, uncross the legs, leave the arms above, but ungrab the arms and notice. Are you pretty similar? If you've got shoulder issues, you may notice a discrepancy between what shoulder can relax. And then notice what's happening in your low back. I'm not saying you should put the back down, but can you make your belly firm enough that I could sit on your belly? So firm up that belly. And you feel transversus abdominis. Keep your belly very tight, but it's hard to push your back down, so don't even try. Just squeeze your belly. Float the arms up. Bend the knees in. And then let's figure out where you want to be for a little shavasana. So if you have a blanket and it's chilly, cover yourself up. If you want to roll on your side, go ahead on your side. If you want to lay over on your belly, you could lay on your belly. So this is your time to just relax, step away. I know it can be challenging for some of us, but they do make t-shirts that says, "My favorite pose is Shavasana." So get yourself set up to do nothing. To do nothing. Don't worry about what's on that to-do list. It's not necessary now. And there's no one marked position, so you just get into a position that seems suitable for you. And then wander through that body, feeling the weight of your head, the heaviness of the shoulders, the back, the hips, the legs. Maybe notice the change in the heart rate, the temperature of your body. As things begin to slow down and we're not necessarily having to do anything with our body, the mind now starts looking for stuff to do, doesn't it? Mine does. So techniques you can use to help quiet the mind. Focus on your breathing. Just notice when the breath comes in, when the breath goes out. Maybe let your mind wander into a place in nature that soothes the soul. out by the ocean, up in the mountains, sitting by a river, enjoying the desert. And inevitably during this quiet time, those thoughts will kind of bubble up, but you just let them keep going on by, not settle on them. So wait in this quiet moment until I ring the singing bell, and let this time be yours. And begin to deepen the breath. And then we wiggle our fingers and toes to awaken the body, blending the calm, the quiet together with what will be our rather lively day, I suspect. So feel free to lay there or move into a different position as I share our thoughts today. This little quote from Anne Morrow Lindenberg: "One cannot collect all the beautiful shells on the beach." When we consider all the rich possibilities of the world, our desire knows no limits. A summer home in the mountains, a romantic getaway to an exotic island, an advanced degree from a prestigious university, so many possibilities, so little time. We can, however, enjoy the things we do experience as completely as possible. We don't need to do everything we can imagine to have a full life. And even if we could collect all those beautiful shells on the beach, what appeal would the beach then hold for us? So our thought for today: I have a wonderful life and wonderful experience. I am lucky. And I do feel like that. And I know you do too. So with that said, come on up to a seated position. And so we try and take from our yoga practice things into life that can help us: better posture, mindful breathing, managing our stresses, being focused, using our knower. So as we sit mindfully and let the arms stretch to the side and then lift up above and palms together with hands at heart, remember the light in me honors the light in you. And so we say Namaste. I thank you for joining the practice today, whether you did this live and in person, so thanks ladies for that, or if you're going to do it later on a recording. So enjoy the rest of your day. See you next week.